Hey mamas, welcome back to my homeschool channel. Today I'm going to talk about simple ways to plan your homeschool year. If the thought of planning out the whole year overwhelms you, then I've got great news for you. You don't have to plan out your whole year right from the start. Watch this video to see how I go through the 5 steps of my simple and stress-free homeschool planning. Step 1, I gather my curriculum together. Having all of the books in front of me helps me visualize all the subjects that I have planned for the year and which subjects I want to teach each day and when. I consider any extracurricular activities we have going on, like piano lessons, and then I write down a general schedule of how I want our days to go. In my planner, I give each subject or activity a time frame, but I'm really just focusing on the flow of the day. I know that I want our mornings to start with morning basket every day, and then from there we'll flow into history or science, and then after that flow into core subjects with breaks along the way. If these subjects don't happen at exactly the time I have them written down to happen, that's totally okay. It might be helpful to you to just write down the flow and not any times. I personally like having the times written down because I kind of just need to brain dump the information. Writing things down helps me to remember that I want to start and finish these subjects around these certain times, but it's not something that I hold tightly to. The rhythm and the routine of our days is more important than the actual times that I write down. After I've created my schedule or my rhythm, I move on to step 2. Step 2 is taking a look inside the textbooks. The first thing I do during this step is to look to see if the teacher guides have a sample schedule in the front of them. The sample lesson plans will often give you an idea of how many days it will take to complete each lesson. Once I see what the books are suggesting, I then look through the first couple of lessons myself, not every lesson, just the first 2 or 3, and I read through them to see how much I think my kids and I can get through in one setting. For example, I think our science textbook is going to take us 4 days to get through one lesson because the lessons are pretty lengthy. But I think it will only take us 1 day to get through one chapter or lesson in our history book. So once I have that information, step 3 is opening up my planner to look at the monthly overview. Based on what my month looks like, I count how many days I plan to do each subject. Using my science and history examples, I think we'll be doing 7 days of history lessons and 6 days of science lessons this month, since we do each subject only 2 days a week, and I know we have a few other things going on that month, like a vacation to Great Wolf Lodge. Once I figure out how many days we're going to do each lesson, I find a note section or a margin section in my planner. In my planner, which I get off Amazon for just $10, and I'll link that below, my margin section is going to be in the top left corner. I'll just write down how many lessons I think we're going to complete that month. And that brings me to step 4, my best planning tip. Don't write out any specific lesson numbers or page numbers that you think you'll complete each day. Leave the daily squares blank and only write in what you've actually accomplished at the end of that day. This is what homeschoolers refer to as reverse planning, and it has been a game changer for me and my stress levels as a homeschool mom. Why does this help? Well, if you plan out each page number and lesson number, you will inevitably be crossing things out and moving them over to different days. Things come up, life happens, and we just don't always accomplish what we think we'll get to. We can put our best effort into planning, even if we just do 1 week at a time, but we never know what's going to happen. And honestly, that's something to be celebrated as homeschoolers. We want the freedom to spend time going down the rabbit holes of our kids' interest, or heading to the zoo or on a nature walk if the weather ends up being nicer than we thought it would, or taking a sick day or just a rest day if we're feeling burnt out. If we leave our squares blank, then we can fill in what we actually did and be encouraged by all that we accomplished instead of crossing things out and seeing all the things that didn't get done. You can write in the field trip to the zoo or the home ec baking lesson if you just spent the day connecting with your kids through baking. Planning in this way focuses on the positive of what you got done and not the negative of crossing things out and seeing all the things you didn't get done. This mindset is huge for our mental health as homeschool moms. So often we can stress about falling behind and forget to see the beauty of the natural learning that our kids experience on the days that we're leaning into what our family needs and not necessarily accomplishing all of the bookwork. Not to mention, this way of planning keeps your planner looking a lot cleaner and more organized, which also helps me feel a lot less stressed. In order for reverse planning to work well, you need to do step 5. Step 5 is just reevaluating at the beginning of each month. When the new month starts, I just do a quick check to see if I was right about how long it took us to complete a science lesson or a history chapter, and then I'll adjust for the new month. I'll write a new goal for how many lessons I think we'll finish that coming month. It helps to keep me on track a little bit, but it's not a big deal if we don't reach that goal or if we do more than what I think we'll do. It's just there as like sort of an overview for me. I plan this way all the way through the first semester, so September, October, November, and December. And then once I get to January, before we start up again with that second semester, I do a more thorough evaluation and I check to see how many lessons are left for the year. I think about how our lessons have been going and if we need to make any changes. If it looks like what we've been doing is not going to finish up the books that I want to finish, then I'll make a note of that in the margins, and I will just simply write a reminder to take more time for history or whatever subject needs tending to. And then practically that just looks like maybe doing an extra chapter when we have a slow day. We purposely only do history and science 2 days a week, so I also have Fridays as a day where I can add in an extra lesson for those subjects if I need to. But also remember as you're evaluating that it's okay to not fully finish a book by the end of the year. There's no rule that says that that has to be done. Even in private and public school classrooms, teachers don't accomplish everything they had planned for the year, so it's okay if there's a few chapters left at the end of the year. It's also okay if you really want to finish the book and you do a couple of weeks of learning into the summer months. Again, there are no rules. You have to do what works for your family. Don't ever be a slave to the schedule or your curriculum. Embrace the freedom that comes with homeschooling. So do yourself a favor this homeschool year and try this reverse planning method. Don't worry about planning out the entire year. Just go month by month and give yourself that freedom and the space to adjust as you go. I promise you'll love the focus this gives you, and you will be surprised at how much you accomplish as you write down all that you did at the end of each day. If this video is helpful, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments if you like this idea of reverse planning. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel before heading out because any interaction with my channel or my videos helps me out so much. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, happy homeschooling.